if I read the material correctly, maybe you didn't set out with the intention of making songs that were so suitable for dancing, but you realized after the composition that they were very danceable. Am I in the right neighborhood with that?
Yeah, I always try to give myself some kind of like prompt or just idea to work with. So I think oftentimes people think of the cello as like long sustained lines or things like that. So I wanted to kind of inhabit a different kind of space and I like to dance. So I wanted some of that energy to be in there. I didn't know specifically how that was going to happen, but that was just something that was kind of floating around in my mind. But then once compositions kind of came into being, then I was like, oh yeah. For me, it was like I was enjoying like bouncing around to like the ideas I was coming up with. So yeah.
In one very sort of limited viewing of the cello, it may not come across as an instrument that involves a lot of bodily movement, although it obviously is a physical machine. I'm curious about the relationship between body and the instrument, the ability to express yourself through movement and physicality. Like how much of that do you think about? How much of that do you take away?
I guess it's a big part of it. I mean, I feel like cello players often have troubles with their backs and shoulders and necks just because of the nature of carrying the instrument, especially when you're on tour and cases, just hauling it around. Yeah, you want to make sure that you have good posture when you're playing. That's what you're, told. But then, I find myself, sometimes I look at pictures, I'm like, oh, because I'm engaged in listening to what's happening around me, because I'm improvising, sometimes, I will curve over a little bit more than maybe is good for my neck or shoulders later. So it is a very physical instrument. And I think the older I get, I just realize how we're all kind of musical athletes. And I wish that some of that was addressed earlier in our training. Maybe some teachers get that, but we're using all these small muscles like really intensively from when we're very young, depending on when we start playing. Yeah, I mean, I guess I do think about my body because that's how I get sound. It's like using, my relaxed shoulders and relaxed arms to pull the sound out instead of pressing the sound out. And just how you need to have strong back muscles and things like that because you have these little muscles that you're working with. I guess I do think about those things when I'm playing and how to play with the most relaxed body, less tension. But then again, when you're improvising, sometimes that kind of goes out the window because you're like, oh, I'm just trying to grab that idea or trying to like make that sound or whatever. So then you might do something that's quote unquote not celloistic. I don't know if that's a word, but you might do something that maybe is not in the best form because you're trying to accomplish that sound or idea you might have in your mind.